Let us be clear. Ms. Albanese's report is not about human rights. It is not about peace. For years, Ms. Albanese has spread anti-Semitic rhetoric and blood libels. She had exploited her elevated UN position to spread hate. She has defended terrorists and shown an ambiguous and vile contempt for Israel, the United States, and the West. When Hamas are your biggest supporters, you are not standing for peace. You are standing for terror. The truth is that this shameful report is one-sided and lacks credible legal or factual foundation. She has taken the word genocide, born from the ashes of the Holocaust, and turned it into a weapon, not to defend victims of history, but to attack them. We agree, those who promote genocide must face justice. That is why we stand against Hamas, the terrorist organization with real genocidal intent. Yet this report makes no mention of Hamas's atrocities, no reference to the October 7th massacre, no reference to the torture of Israeli hostages, no reference to Hamas's public executions of Gazans. By erasing Hamas and its crimes from her report, Ms. Albanese hides the truth, defends the terrorists, and blames the victims. She calls convicted terrorists, murderers, and rapists Palestinian hostages, equating them with the innocent Israeli hostages held in Hamas's terror tunnels. Ms. Albanese, every time you try to curse Israel with falsehood and libels, your curses fail. Ms. Albanese, you are a witch, and this report is another page in your spell book. You have tried to curse Israel with lies and hatred, but your poison has failed. Every page of this report is an empty spell. Every accusation a charm that does not work, because you are a failed witch. Your words have no power, and your report will have no impact. Every time you try to curse us, the opposite happens. On July 3rd, you demanded sanctions against global companies, including some of America's largest, for working with Israel. 6 days later, it was you who was sanctioned by the United States, not for defending human rights, but for spreading hate and lies. You parade as a lawyer, yet hold no license to practice. Instead, you wrap your bias in the language of law, hoping it will hide what it really is: Hamas propaganda. You call Israel the greatest threat to international peace and security, and for our suspension from every organization. Yet, it is Israel, the region's only liberal democracy, that is present in this room today. It is you, Ms. Albanese, who stands outside it. Ms. Albanese has devoted her energy to attack Israel, but her report shows that her campaign of defamation is expanding. Ms. Albanese attacked President Trump for what she called aggression, yet it was under his leadership that the Abraham Accords were signed, and his 20-point peace plan that laid the groundwork for today's ceasefire. Her witchcraft failed, diplomacy has triumphed. So now she directs her curses toward other nations, our allies, partners and friends who stand for democracy and the rule of law. Then we can only hope her witchcraft fails once again. May her curses continue to backfire.
The report presented today by Special Rapporteur Albanese is entirely devoid of credibility and impartiality. As Italy, we are not surprised. The content of the report blatantly exceeds the specific mandate of the Special Rapporteur, which does not include investigations into alleged violations committed by other states or entities, nor judgments on cooperation between third countries and the ICC. Even more concerning is the complete disregard, in particular during the last month, for the Code of Conduct for Special Rapporteurs, which includes common sense principles such as integrity, impartiality, and good faith. These are not optional. They are the foundation of any credible report of the implementation of the mandate and of the United Nations itself. The Code of Conduct calls on rapporteurs to ensure their personal political opinions are without prejudice to the execution of their mission, and to ensure.
I thank Italy for the statement.
Need to ensure that their personal political opinions are without prejudice to the execution of their mission. Rapporteur Albanese's lack of condemnation of the terrorist acts against Israel and her one-sided and often prejudiced remarks are reflective of her biased conduct. We firmly reject the report and findings of the special reporter, which are a result of a one-sided and anti-Israel bias.
First of all, my first comment it's a reaction to the representative of the State of Israel, who finally, after 3 years, honored this mandate of his presence. Look, it's grotesque and frankly delusional that a genocidal state can't respond to the substance of my findings. And the best thing that he resorts to is accusing me of witchcraft. So be it. You're the one accused of genocide. If the worst thing you can accuse me for is witchcraft, I take it. But rest assured that if I had the power to make spells, I would use it not for vengeance. I would use it to stop your crimes once and for all, and to make sure that those responsibles end up behind bars. And I would make sure that everyone from the river to the sea, Jewish people, Muslim people, Christian people, and secular people lived in freedom and enjoying their rights, not just privilege for few, again, between the river and the sea. Look at how anti-Semitism and terrorism have been used, not only to dehumanize the Palestinians, but also to silence any legitimate criticism of Israel. I mean, no one cares about Israel's religions, frankly. I just want Israel to comply with international law, like anyone else in the international community, including the Commission of Inquiry, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, all the dozens and dozens of organizations who have documented Israel's war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. And by the way, Israel is the one who today appears before 2 international tribunals accused of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Then to Hungary and Italy. Hungary is wrong. It's not true that I've not condemned Hamas. Of course I've condemned Hamas. Of course, surely not in this report, but I've not condemned Israel for its crimes against the Palestinians in 2008, 2009, 2012, etc., etc. But I regret you and the representative of Italy made allegations that I find unsupported. For example, you say that I make political statements. Well, you should have mentioned some examples so that I could have learned and improved. Otherwise, both of you seem reciting the talking points of the Israeli ambassador. To the representative of Ireland, my answer on which next steps can be taken to advance peace, I say respecting international law. The ICJ has spoken over and over the past 18 months, saying that it's genocide which calls states upon cutting ties with Israel, especially stop transferring weapons. And then the only roadmap to peace is about ending the root causes of violence, ending the occupation, now ending and remedying the genocide, and then ending apartheid. I don't see that there is another way forward. Many of you continue to treat Palestine as a humanitarian crisis to manage in perpetuity, and I stand firmly against it in the name of justice and human rights. As simple as that. A member state, including Saudi Arabia, may want to use their influence to make sure that, as the ICJ has requested, Israel withdraws the troops, dismantle the settlements, and then stops using Palestinian resources, allowing also for reparations. This is what is to be done. Look at the peace plan that so many of you have uploaded in recent weeks. This peace plan has continued maintain the Palestinians under occupation, and in fact doesn't take into account international law at all, and creates the conditions for an occupation in disguise. Instead of helping bring to an end the occupation, South Africa demonstrates that what seems today invincible can in fact be broken when law, will, and courage align, and even in the strongest wall. And in this darkness, millions are resisting. Sparks of hope. Shame on those calling themselves liberal democracies, failing to restrain the powers of their police that try to silence conscience, or to support the hundreds of citizens from all over the world who continue to risk their life in the forms of a flotilla or global march, breaking the genocide instead of anticipating that breaking the siege and stopping the genocide is an obligation that is upon member states. As the global anti-apartheid movement of our time demonstrates, it's states that stay silent and complicit. The people united are rising. Workers are striking worldwide. The BDS is gaining new momentum with more consumers boycotting strategically, businesses divesting, and institutions from banks to universities slowly but steadily correcting their practices. The question is no longer if Israel's apartheid and the global system of complicity that supports it will end. It matters when and how. For the younger generation, the genocide of the Palestinians is memory in the making, shaping their sense of self in the global order. And whether recognized by states or not, accepted or not by those in power, the Palestinian struggle for freedom stands at the heart of the movement toward a truly decolonial world order. And to the people of Palestine, I say, may you hear it. From the harshness of occupation to wherever exile has taken you, watching or suffering the genocide, your struggle is seen, your resilience is honored, and the world is awakening with you and will stand with you as it has done with South Africa until your liberation. Thank you.